The following podcast is brought to you by the Johners Podcasting Network, found exclusively at WrestlingWithJohners.com.
You're so full of shit and you know it, Joey K.
Yeah, true. I know.
And with that little lovely way to start off the show, we are going to put a disclaimer on this episode. Joey K is already in rare form, so fasten your seatbelts because it's going to be a bumpy ride. Ladies and gentlemen, we're just going to get right into it because Joey K, if you could only hear the stuff we talk about before I hit the record button, he's got a lot on his mind tonight. So, like I said, put the children to bed, or put a phone in front of them. Make sure they don't hear this because I'm sure it's going to be a lot of not safe for work stuff we're going to hear coming out of the mouth of our resident premier Joey K. But ladies and gentlemen, this is Shooting Shit. I just gotta have a reason to play the beep every once in a while. So,
What is wrong with you, dude?
I start piling on the investment money.
yes, that's right. We are back with another episode of Shooting Shit, and again, warning: Joey K is in rare form, so you best be ready for an interesting show. We'll just leave it at that. Speaking of our resident premier Joey K, we are always joined by our resident Dallas Cowboys fan, the hot one, Jay Minacho. And guys, how are you doing this evening? Well, we already know how Joey K's doing.
Silence, which is golden and rare. It's going to be rare tonight, ladies and gentlemen, that you're not going to hear from the premier Joey K. He's saving all his rage, all the Christmas presents that he never got at Christmas, all the hugs that his parents never gave him growing up, all the weed that his dad never shared with him the right way. He is going to get all of those bottled up emotions and just spew it out on the IWC today. But y'all know me. I am the hot one, Jay Minacho. I am great. It is a beautiful Tuesday evening. All is right in the world. I love pro wrestling. We'll find out if Joey K does. DDJ, what do you say?
Let's just get right into it because I think the sooner that we let Joey K talk, the better it is for not only us doing this show, but better for people listening because it gives him less time to keep stuff bottled up. But got a few things to talk about here. A little bit of a spoiler alert for next week's episode. We're going to save the Wrestle Kingdom talk for next week's episode, so that way we can talk about all three nights. But just real quick, night one, go out and watch it if you haven't already because it was really good. By the time this episode drops, night two will have happened, and we'll be talking about night one, night two, and then night three, which features New Japan Pro Wrestling against Noah next week's episode. So we're going to get right into it. So one of the big thing that came out of the news last week was the interview that Big Swole did. I can't even remember the name of the show or podcast that it was on, but she had a lot of things to say and prompted a response from AEW owner Tony Khan and landed Tony Khan in a little bit of hot water with a couple, a few of the wrestlers on the roster, a few of the wrestlers not on the roster, and of course the IWC because all those people on Twitter sitting behind their keyboards thinking they're the shit and all that stuff always have something to say. But guys, what are your thoughts on this whole Tony Khan Big Swole debacle? Hot one, why don't you lead us off tonight?
To me, IWC, this is going to be a bit of a rude awakening before Joey K rips you a brand new one and spits in it. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to say this. If you love Tony Khan for going at the WWE, you love Tony Khan for counter-programming SmackDown with Daniel Bryan versus Murder Grandpa himself, Minoru Suzuki. You love Tony Khan that the ratings and the demos are exactly where they're at, that these guys at AEW are doing a lot better than anybody expected for only 2 to 3 years in on the company, you have to take it all. Tony Khan is a very emotional person. You go at Tony Khan, he's going to shoot back. Anybody that knows Tony Khan, even from his football team, his soccer team, knows this. He's very passionate. If he believes in what he's saying, he's going to hit back. Big Swole, maybe her comments were taken a little bit out of context because I heard the full interview. It did seem like the dirt sheets did do their job and kind of hunt and pick and choose exactly what they wanted to say to make it look like she was saying something against AEW. But for Tony Khan, context is a motherfucker. Like for everybody else, he didn't have the full context and he reacted. Sometimes it's better to wait, process it, see how everything was actually taken into context, and then respond. But you can't condemn Tony Khan for doing what Tony Khan does, and that's shooting from the hip. So to me, as much as I may agree with some of the things that were said about, the diversity within the company, AEW is 3 years old. The WWE has been around for years and years and years, and they've only had 4 black champions. 2 of them were extremely recent. So let's not act like everyone else has given us this prime example of diversity when they haven't. So my thing is, I'm a big proponent of black wrestling, big proponent of supporting the culture. Guys, let's not make it a witch hunt when there doesn't have to be, because he's given plenty of opportunities to plenty of people who spoke on his behalf. And that's where I'm going to lay it. In this whole context between what happened between Big Swole and Tony Khan, there is no real right. There is no real wrong. It was all a matter of circumstance and context. And unfortunately, emotions played part. So that's my piece.
So wait, you mean to tell me that the dirt sheets and Twitter and the IWC blew this out of proportion?
Just a little bit. I know it's the first time they've ever done this, but yeah, no, it sucks.
Color me shocked there.
And color me bad, but not as bad as Joey K.
Well, we're gonna save Joey K here for the end here because I don't want to have to follow him here with this. So for me, again, this for those that know me know I'm a 41, almost 42-year-old white man. So
what? You're 41?
Yes.
Okay,
I
that's
turned
all right.
42 in about I turned 42 in about 3 months.
Wait, you're white?
I am white, believe it or not. What do you think? You know what? Let's not even go there. But
I'm just shocked.
But anyways, so being what I am, I'm gonna just be straight out and honest. I haven't, had to go through a lot of the hardships and experiences that, those that are, of color or a different creed or race or whatever have gone through. That doesn't make, I don't think that makes me any better than either one of you. It doesn't make me better than anyone that's listening to this show. It doesn't make me better than anyone who does not like this show. That's on Facebook, on Twitter. I'm just me. But for me, though, just my observation on this is I agree with a lot of what Jovan said. I think a lot of this has to do with the dirt sheets and the, IWC, because, blowing things out of proportion because that's what they do and stuff, I mean, it's a shame that it came to this because I like Big Swole. I had a chance to meet her at the softball game. Great person. I know she's had some health issues that she has to deal with, and I'm sure it's probably had some sort of impact on her career. And it's a shame because she's uber talented, and that, and it's just a shame that, obviously she has a right to her opinion. She has a right to, express herself and, however she feels. But the one thing is, and I think this is something that gets lost in society. Yes, we have the freedom of speech and freedom of expression. But if you're gonna make a point or you're gonna say something, be prepared for a reply, a reaction, whatever. You're not allowed just to say something and that's it. people are going to react to whatever it is you say. People are going to react to what we say on this show. We encourage that because we want to know what our shooters and the people that listen to the show and follow us think. But I mean, at the same time, I really liked what you had to say about Tony Khan. Yes, he's extremely passionate. Anytime he does an interview or something, he comes across as it. You can definitely tell he's a fan. He's passionate about his company. He's passionate about, like you said, his football team, even though his football team's even worse than my Bears, which, that's a shocker that there's actually some teams out there that are worse than the Bears. He's passionate about his soccer team, and it's good that he's passionate. I would rather have someone running a company that's as passionate about it as Tony Khan is, because when you're passionate about something that you do or that you're in charge of, you're going to do everything in your power to put out the best possible product. And I definitely appreciate that. But much like Javon said, he reacted. He sometimes strikes me as a shoot first, ask questions later kind of guy, and that's most of the time is not a good thing. I think we all in life are guilty of reacting before we hear the whole story. It happened to a lot of us with the whole Pro Wrestling Junkies debacle. We heard, or we just reacted on what we saw, and we made decisions and kind of things. We split apart just based on what we heard at the time. But once we heard the whole story, then everybody came together, because then the whole story was told. And I mean, again, we're all guilty of that. I'm guilty of it. Jovan's guilty of it. Joey K's guilty of it. Any of our listeners, just people in general. That's just how we are. When we're passionate about something, we do what we can to get out there and accentuate the positives, hide the negatives. But at the same time, we're going to sit there and defend something that we're passionate about. Yeah, Jovan's a Dallas Cowboys fan. Joey K's a Philadelphia Eagles fan. They play in the same division, heated rivalries. These two, again, if you could only hear what we talk about before the show records, you should hear these two going at it, and it's going to carry on to the last week of the playoffs. I have a lot of friends that are Green Bay Packers fans. One of my ex-girlfriends, who's one of my really good friends, is a Minnesota Vikings fan. It gets heated, but I think a lot of times it makes it fun, But when done correctly and tastefully, and I may not always agree with what people have to say, but I'm going to listen to them. And
Side note, my grandmother is a Washington football team. Everybody else in the family is. She likes to be the contrarian, and she is, to put it nicely, unbearable. Hell, the craziness.
So, so speaking of the Washington football team, was it 222 is the big reveal?
Yep, because they're going to take a deuce on everything.
Oh, boy. So, but yeah, like before we go let Joey K speak, like I said, it's obviously when stuff like this comes out, it's going to spark a reaction, but like I said, I think this whole situation could have been avoided, or could have been not as bad as it turned out to be, or however you want to, disruptive, however you want to call it. Everybody had a chance to hear the whole story before just, reacting on what they saw. And this is kind of like Javon always likes to talk about, IWC do better. In this case, I'm going to take the lead and say, in this situation, IWC do better. If you sit there and go on your phones, go on Twitter, go on Facebook, and you see this story, you sit there and say, you're going to read a few lines, say, oh, I'm going to post this in a chat or whatever. Do your research. Don't just sit there and post it and then 5 minutes later come back and say, oh, this was fake or something, because it's going to make you look like a fool. So, and in the end, we all just, all we want to do is just sit there and enjoy wrestling. And you know what? It's honestly, that's where it boils down to me. I just want to enjoy the wrestling. No more drama. But on that note, I say no more drama. And now we got to kick it over to Joey K, where it's going to be nothing but drama. So Joey K, take it away.
First of all, I think Jovan and I are going to have a wonderful time this Saturday night 8:15 p.m. Eastern in the season finale, the Eagles versus the Cowboys.
Oh, boy.
But I will hold back on that for now. Big Swole was allowed to say whatever she feels, whatever she wants to. And how she views AEW in the locker room is her personal business.
Mm-hmm.
If she cares to share that with the world, that is what she saw. That's what she saw. That's what she felt like. That's what she experienced. Right, wrong, and different. That was her. Okay. To that counterpoint, Tony Khan is worth $1 billion. That's $1 billion with a B. Tony Khan is the co-owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Tony Khan is the co-owner of Fulham FC. Tony Khan is the president and founder and owner of All Elite Wrestling. When you are in that much power and your best comeback is, hey, I have black friends, because that's essentially what he said. Oh, let me talk about the black wrestlers I put over in the past few weeks. What? On the fucking YouTube show that like 8 people watch and I'm looking at 2 of them on my screen right now? Fuck off. Number 2, if you have to say, oh, look at the black wrestlers I support and name them out and call them out, and then have them turn around and say, well, he takes care of me, like defending him, whether they were told to or not, it makes it kind of look that way. And lastly, Tony Khan saying that she's not really a good wrestler, so that's why we let her contract expire. Basically, shits on talent. And I don't care if you're white, black, Hispanic, fucking European, whatever. You think he's not going to shit on your ability next? In the same fucking tweet where he says, look what I've done for black wrestling, and then say, yeah, but she's not good, so she doesn't matter. Get fucked. Because that is fucking IWC bullshit. That is the fucking that's fucking Twitter troll level. That's fucking nonsense, dude. You are a powerful man worth $1 billion. You own multiple sports teams, co-owner of multiple sports teams, and you are the fucking owner of a wrestling company. You have we all saw fucking Spider-Man, right? With great power comes great responsibility.
Yep.
You buried that fucking girl, and you buried her ability after she was there to showcase for your fucking show when you couldn't have fans in the building. Okay? They put her in a fucking title run, in an entire title spot. And then you're going to turn around and say she's not good? Oh, it was good when she was there to keep your fucking show on TV. She was worth it then, but now she's not? And you're only saying this as a reaction to her saying, this is what I saw. This was my version of things. I have a big problem with people in that much power using their fucking power and ability to shit on people that are smaller than them. I fucking hate bullies, and that's exactly how that tweet came across to me. That's a fucking bully tweet from a little twerp who's half the fucking size of 85% of the people he employs. You know, how about this? How about, because there's a lot of old school dudes in that locker room and that roster. So how about he says, oh, we let Taz's contract expire because, you know, he was never a good wrestler and he's terrible on commentary. Let me ask you a question. Taz is from a much fucking different era. You think he wouldn't grab a hold of that little fucking geek and throw him through a fucking wall? You think about a guy like, say, for instance, Sting, an old school legend, but he also came up in an era where you don't fucking bury people like that publicly on your fucking Twitter. How many people follow Tony Khan on Twitter? Anybody know?
I can look it up real quick.
It's a fucking lot. So you buried this girl's career and her talent and her ability and said she wasn't shit. She wasn't good enough for AEW anymore. So we're done with her. And then said, oh, look, I hire black wrestlers. So you're full of shit. That's what it came across as. And I fucking hate that. That's a bully mentality when you're in that much power and have that much authority in the fucking wrestling world. And let's be real. They're the number 2 fucking company. They're the number fucking 2 company. There's nobody else has a fucking argument for number 2, and there will be eventually number 1 because the number 1 doesn't know how to fucking dig themselves out of a hole to save their fucking life. So that's what we're gonna get.
Okay, so I'm on his Twitter page right here. I'm actually shocked by this because I thought he'd have a lot more. He's only got like about just a little over 250,000 followers.
Okay, and how many of them are fucking dirt sheet writers, news reporters, like people who write any kind of articles regarding his business or his life or professional wrestling? I would say a fuckload of them, an absolute fuckload.
Yeah, I was just saying, I'm not going through everything to actually determine that because it takes
right. I know, but I'm just saying he could have 500 followers and if 400 of them are writers for every fucking major sports outlet in the country. That's more power than you'll ever fucking need. So I have a big problem with that. I fucking hate that. I think it's childish, it's immature, and it shows that a lot of people, and you know what, get heat for it. I don't give a flying fuck. A lot of people like Jim Cornette is like, this is why you don't have a fucking mark run the business. Because he's a fucking mark for himself. That Twitter comment showed me he's a fucking mark for himself. That's childish and cheap. You can't do that when you're in that much power, have that much responsibility. So normally I do praise Tony Khan for a lot of shit that he does. And are they a diverse company? I'll agree. Yes, they are. I don't know what Swole looks at, but that's her vision. That's her thoughts. That's her feelings. And if that's how she felt, hey, maybe they should take a look in the mirror and say, hey, this is how she felt. Do we make others feel this way? Should we change something? Are we on the right track, but maybe doing something that's not enough, not the right way to do it, whatever? Do that. But don't fucking bury talent. When they're out, they need to go out there and make a fucking living. Not cool. Not good with that.
So Joey K kind of leads us off. It kind of gave us a segue into our next topic, and that is, does AEW have a diversity problem? Joey K, we're going to give you a little bit of a break there so you can rest your vocal cords and stuff because you definitely had a lot to say there. But I'm going to start off with this one. To me, again, 41-year-old white male, it's probably going to look at this differently than, say, someone, who's African-American or someone who's Hispanic and stuff, because I think we all have our different ideas or different takes on what diversity problem or however, we'd want to construct, view this question as. We're all going to have different takes because I think we all have different ideas or concepts as to what, diversity is. And in terms of overall, like their roster, underemployment, I would definitely say no, they don't, because you look at like all the, the different representations. I mean, you got your African-American wrestlers like Powerhouse Hobbs, like Scorpio Sky, Lee Moriarty, who just recently signed with AEW. You have a large Hispanic, you have a Hispanic representation. Actually, I go back to the, the African-Americans. I mean, you got Brandy Rhodes, who's the chief brand officer. I believe the one woman he referenced in that Twitter, I think it's Mega or something like that. She's they're like main legal person, I believe, or something like that.
Something like that.
Okay. But then you go to obviously, you got Phoenix and Penta, you got Andrade. You've got, Diamante, Thunder Rosa. I mean, then you've got, your gay and lesbian and, the trans, community represented with people like Jake Atlas, who I believe just recently got signed, Nyla Rose. And I mean, I definitely think they have, Sonny Kiss. They have definitely someone, basically that I think everybody, regardless of, what race you are, what you identify as, your orientation, whatever. I think there's someone there that can be representative of your community. And to me, that is, what I would consider to be, a diverse workplace. In terms of who they have in their positions, it's kind of, I guess you could say, some people say yes, some people will say no. I mean, obviously, your main champion is Hangman Page, who is white. You have your women's champion, who is white. You have you have an African American woman who's could potentially be your first TBS champion. You have two of your top Hispanic talents as your tag team champions. So honestly, I don't think in terms of who they have in the prime positions and then just overall, I don't want to say they have a diversity problem, but there's always a potential that could happen really quickly, just because, again, how volatile and how touchy this type of topic is in society overall and stuff. And again, someone listening to this or someone who I would talk about this with, in person may disagree with me, but I figure, with what I just explained and everything, I kind of gave, facts and things out there that kind of support my answer. Will I sit there and listen to someone that may not necessarily agree with me? Absolutely. As long as it's done in a respectful manner. And this is why I'm going to go to Jovan and not Joey K, because Joey K sometimes isn't. No, I'm just kidding. I love you, Joey K. But
I love you too.
Yeah. But anyways, though, I could see where some people would think that there's a diversity problem, but in all honesty, it could be a lot worse in AEW when it comes to diversity. Jovan, what do you got to say?
Ladies and gentlemen, I am
what, frozen internet?
Mexican.
Oh, there we go.
Am I really frozen?
You were.
Was I frozen for a second?
Yeah, you were.
You go, ladies and gentlemen, I am, and then that's when you froze.
Motherfucker.
Jesus Christ. I mean, does Texas have fucking internet? I mean,
well, we're getting fiber optic on Thursday. I'm very excited about it.
I mean, that's great
I
because you barely have fucking dial-up right now.
I thought they were still using the AOL disc you used to find in all the magazines.
Fucking startup disc.
I love you, jackasses.
Go on, Jovan.
Anyway, as I was saying, freaking douches.
You froze again.
Am I really freezing up real bad?
Yeah, you were.
Not right now when you're not saying anything, but you are. Every time you try to make a point, we get this.
Okay, well, fuck it. We'll go quick fire. So I'll go quick fire. We'll go quick fire. My background, my lineage, whatever you want to call it. Like DDJ said, he's a 41-year-old white guy. I also identify as a 42-year-old white guy. I'm just joking. I am actually Afro-Cuban, Puerto Rican, Mexican, guys, I have a little bit of everything in the bloodline.
He's used to having a little bit of everything in him.
And he froze again, too. This is the shit.
It was such a bad comeback from DDJ, it froze my internet. Did y'all see that?
Hey, pop Joey K.
I'm not gonna lie.
But what doesn't pop Joey K? But anyways, here and why is this?
Dude, you just keep freezing up, man. The good Lord don't want to hear what the fuck you have to say, bro. Like he is saying, like, yo, Texas, fuck your Wi-Fi.
Well, then Joey K, you go.
You gonna reboot?
You got just go. Do your long rant.
So I'll jump in. There while Jovan figures out how to reset that old dial-up modem. Okay, so here's the truth. In my opinion, what I see is I see plenty of diversity in AEW, more so than in other companies, more so than in a lot of places you go to. They have done more to push on a national platform, let me clarify, on a national televised platform of professional wrestling, they have done more to push inclusivity for all groups, whether it's race, gender, like nationality, whatever it might be. And that I appreciate. I think it's a great thing. I do. I don't see personally that there is anything holding anyone back in AEW. I don't think that there is anyone that would intentionally do it. That's just never the vibe that I particularly got, other than me ranting about Tony Khan's particularly bad take, but that's a very specific situation. I don't think that is all indicative of his personal thoughts and feelings as far as, how he sees other races or anything like that. All right. I just think he made a terrible, shitty choice. And now, due to that poor choice of words and shitty choice and tweeting out, he's opened an entire discussion for the diversity in AEW. And there's no good way to make that work. There really isn't, because now everybody's going to have an opinion. And I've seen tons of them. Oh, they're very diverse. Look at what they do for this. Look at what they do for that. Look at what they do for everyone here and there, which is fine and great. And the flip side of that is somebody is still not going to be happy of what they're not doing for another minority, whether it be racial or whether it be gender or however. It doesn't matter. Like, you'll never do enough. You'll never do it right.
You'll never be able to make everyone happy.
Correct. I've also already said this, where it's like, don't fucking publicly tout, look what I've done for this person of color and this person of color and this person of color. That's just such a fucking bad take to me. Like, that is just bullshit. You should show it in actions. You shouldn't have to fucking name drop people that you've been working with. I think also a big problem with diversity and how it's seen is the professional wrestling industry for a long time in the United States has been the male, white, stereotypical wrestler. That is changing. But like we all know, change isn't overnight. Racial change isn't overnight. We see it in our country every day. We see it on the news. We see it out in the streets when people protesting. You see it all the time. That change takes a long time. And the direction that professional wrestling has gone in recent years is a good thing. But there is no fast track to get there. You will not please everyone. There will be bumps on that road. We've already seen plenty of them. But it's going there. So for everybody who thinks there isn't diversity, or because this person isn't getting a push or this person isn't getting their time, I get you. I do get you. But understand, it's a long time. It's a long process, but it's going there. That's the train we're on. That's the path we're taking. And I do commend AEW for pushing it further than a lot of other major companies, including the biggest company in professional wrestling. AEW has done more for diversity in professional wrestling in the past 2 years than WWE has done in the past 30.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the truth. And I understand the point made. Your world champion is a white male. Your world women champion is a white female. I get that. I understand that. But it's not always going to be like that. And I don't really think we're ever going to have to wait around for years and years and years and years and years to finally see a black world champion in AEW. a Mexican world champion in AEW, a whatever race you are, whatever ethnicity, whatever background you are, champion. I mean, it's not going to be a long wait, but the road is long. That's where we're at with it.
All right. So while the Joey K was doing his thing and stuff, we lost and got back to Hot One. Jovan, did you have anything else you wanted to add?
Let's see if I can, man. Shit.
Without you
I don't
freezing?
know. Huh?
Without you freezing?
Yeah, no, yeah. Don't stop me unless I freeze, because shit, I'm trying to keep up here. But I didn't hear what Joey K eloquently said. I came in at the very, very end, so hopefully it was full of good points and
It was
not just racial mumbo jumbo and Joey K throwing slurs out there, because we know it's not that kind of show.
What the fuck, dude?
I'm just joking, brother.
I will vouch for Joey K here, and Joey K, you done good.
Okay, good. They know that's not who you are, Joey K. You're a big teddy bear who needs to be hugged.
Hugged and groped.
He's the Pacific Playboy right there.
He's our resident teddy bear.
But anyway, that's right. He just didn't get no loving. He's our Teddy Ruxpin.
Oh man, I used to have one of those when I was
But,
a kid. I love that bear.
Take y'all down memory lane.
Yep.
But same thing, man. You know, as I was saying before I started freezing Wi-Fi freezes. Did it fucking happen again?
Yep.
I'm so fucking done with tonight. Apparently, temperatures get below 30 and the Wi-Fi freezes in Texas because we're not built for it, guys. I don't know if you know that or not.
And so do the Cowboys. Hi-oh!
You know what, your mama? How about that? Sorry about that, Mama K.
Oh boy.
That's your ass, not mine, man. You fucked up.
Hey, that's I fucked up. She's gonna get me next time in Philly. But guys, as I've been trying to say, I am a mixed bag of racial ethnicities, backgrounds, whatever you want to call it. I'm behind 110%. Fuck me, okay? We're just gonna do this quickly. They're diverse. Everything's coming soon. Don't be fucking wasting time trying to bust a nut, trying to get everybody in together right now. Oh, they're not this or they're not that. It's coming, guys. Give them time. They're only 2 years old. Jesus Christ, move on. Done.
Right.
Beautiful point summed up in 30 seconds of actually keeping your connection. That was fantastic.
And those of you who are listening to this on Apple Podcast, Apple, Spotify, or whatever, Yvonne just gave Joey K the double bird. But if you're watching this on YouTube, you saw it for yourself. So, all right. So we got through that stuff here, and again, these are all just our takes. Dissect it, understand it, interpret it however you want.
I've got a deeper take, but Texas won't allow me to have it because of this internet. So you know what, guys? One day we'll get a full thought out of me. One day.
Okay, Jovan, if you say so. All right. So obviously right now one of the biggest issues that we as a society are facing is this new Omicron variant that's been really hitting people hard. And with that, a lot of places are going back with their COVID protocols, kind of reverting back. I know I'm in the Chicago, where I'm from in the Chicago area, they're kind of going almost the New York route where, like, if you want to go certain places in the city, you have to show proof of vaccination and stuff. But we're not going to get into that because that's not the type of show we are here. But we are going to discuss the protocols that WWE has instituted with it, when it comes to COVID. And this is kind of coming off the heels of a lot of the office people and some of the talent, including, I believe, Seth Rollins was recently diagnosed with it. Roman Reigns was diagnosed with it, causing him to miss out on day one, which we're going to talk a little bit about that here in a bit. But Guys, what are your thoughts on the COVID protocols that the WWE has? And Jovan, you thought of this question, so you can kind of maybe paint a little picture for our audience as to what exactly those protocols are, and then give your take on them.
WWE's protocols is don't ask, don't tell, just like in the Army. My take is that sucks. Go.
Okay, so yeah, basically, a lot of it is, I can see, in a sense, I don't necessarily agree with these protocols because it seems like, AEW, did it the right. Ring of Honor, when they were, operating, had their, protocols, Impact, and everything. But like Jawan pretty much just eloquently said there, so quickly, so he didn't freeze up. Can't wait for him to get better internet so we don't have to do this all the time. But don't ask.
Me
don't tell.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah. When the Cowboys actually win another Super Bowl, he'll have good internet. By then, we'll probably all be fucking dead.
Wow.
Look, he froze
Thursday.
up. Thursday
is coming. Fiber optic internet.
Ooh.
Did I really?
Yeah, fiber optic. Welcome to 2004, Texas. Awesome.
Hey, we get a freeze here and it kills like 200 people. So yeah, we're a little behind. It's all right.
Well, that's because you guys don't know how. You guys don't normally get that kind of weather, so you don't know what to do. If you came up here and lived where I was, or even where Joey K was, it wouldn't be as big of an issue because we deal with this stuff all the time. Heck, we had I mean, not as bad as I think it was anticipated, but we got some snow on New Year's Day. I drove out in it and stuff, unfortunately, but you know what? It happens. It's all a part of life. That's why I hate winter, because I hate snow. But anyways, going back to the topic at hand with the COVID protocols, to me, it's I can see it, but it does. I understand why maybe they're taking this attitude that they have with this. Doesn't necessarily make it right. With this is something that a lot of us in our lifetimes really have never had to deal with. I think the last big pandemic before this was back, I want to say, was it like where I think polio was like the last real pandemic that the world faced. And that was what, like the 40s or 50s, I think, or something like that. Something like that. I don't know.
I'm not a history scholar. I have no clue. I watch wrestling.
But just basically my point that I was trying to make is that this is something new and unprecedented for a lot of us, who are, in our 40s, in our 50s, 60s, whatever, because a lot of us, there's some people that were around when like polio was a problem. But, a lot of us, this is something completely different. We're going in on almost 2 years of having to deal with this, and we thought that sometime, last year we were done, and then it just got worse again, and we're going to have our peaks and we lost Jovan again. So,
talk about it being in a fucking valley, huh?
Yeah.
This shit's going down the shitter.
He's definitely not in Silicon Valley.
He's fucking borderline in Death Valley right now. So,
but my point I'm trying to make is, and I keep sidetracking myself, is that it's something like this. By taking this attitude, like don't ask, don't tell, whatever. It's not necessarily a good thing, because if someone shows up who has it, especially if it's someone who's supposed to work a match that night, you're not only putting the person you're going up against in jeopardy. You're not only putting the referee, the commentators, basically everyone that's ringside, your camera crew, your security, and most importantly, the people that are paying down their hard-earned dollars to watch this in action. We get it. It's putting us, but it's causing, a lot of your talent to have to sit out and miss shows, and that means less money. But the NFL has gone through that. The NBA has really been hit hard. The NHL, Major League Baseball, every major organization, company, whatever, schools, especially my school district alone. Today, we're recording this on Tuesday, January 4th. It was my son's first day back at school, and last night, My wife and I got emails and texts from our district saying that they had to close 5 schools in our district because of staff shortages, because everybody's sick. I was talking with my son's principal after my kid went in this morning, and he was kind of explaining to us and that everybody has to deal with it. But you know what? If we're going to sit there and if these people staying at home is going to keep my son, your daughter, Jovan's kid, basically people reporting this and doing the right thing and sitting out, if it's going to keep everyone safe, why not? You know what? I would rather see WWE go out and put on a show with half of their roster if it means that less people are going to get sick. And to me, that just the way they're doing this is just clean. That just screams irresponsibility. Joey K, what say you?
It's complete and utter bullshit. It's a fucking me first mentality where they care about the bottom line and their own profits over the health and well-being of their talent, of their crew, of their workers. And again, I really don't give a fuck what side you're on politically. I can give a shit, and I'm not here to discuss mine. But what I will say is this. If a performer like a Seth Rollins, who's probably on a fucking guaranteed contract making money, so even if he has to sit home for a couple weeks because he's got COVID, is going to fucking make a lot of money still, is still going to sell merch and get those royalty checks. Well, guess what? He's not the same as the guy who's ringside holding a fucking camera. Because those guys, I doubt, have guaranteed contracts. And I doubt they're going to sit home. And I don't know. Have you ever seen a fucking WWE Ring Crew t-shirt for sale at the concession stands or WWE shop? I haven't. Nope. I've been a wrestling fan for 35 fucking years. So tell me where they're getting paid. It's a huge, huge lack of responsibility. Talked about it earlier with Tony Khan. With great power comes fucking great responsibility. Be responsible for your fucking employees. Without going too much into my own real life career, I have a staff that I manage. I have a bunch of wonderful people that work for me. And I make sure every fucking day of the week, 7 days a week, nonstop, that my staff is taken care of, that we hit every single protocol and are responsible and careful as we fucking possibly can be, because I don't want to get my employees sick. I don't want them to get sick and go home and get their families sick. I don't want their families, children or whoever, to go to school, to go to a church, to go to a playground and get someone else's family sick. I don't want that. So I take precautions. I maintain that my team takes precautions. And as careful as we possibly can be, people are still getting sick. And that's very, very, very fucking true. So you're going to tell me you want people to show up for work and just don't say anything, or you don't give a fuck if they say it or not? That is some irresponsible bullshit. And they need to be fucking called out for it. Do fucking better, WWE, because when you fuck with people's livelihoods, that's pretty fucked up. Which, honestly, that's all they have a fucking track record for, especially in the past 2 years, is fucking with people's livelihoods for budget cuts. If you only care about the bottom line and how much fucking profit you are making, and you do not care about the people who bleed, who sweat, who fucking go through surgeries and break their fucking bones and tear muscles and cartilage, or the people who have to leave their families at home and travel and just constantly be on the fucking road and work a fucking camera, or the people who have to fucking cater events, or the hair and makeup staff that has to make every one of these fucking goofballs look great. And I say goofballs referring to people like fucking Vince McMahon, who's a weekly staple on television. If those people you don't care about, Fuck you, WWE. You have a garbage fucking product to start with. I watched part of that day one shit show, and I could care fucking less. And the only reason I watch it is because I enjoy the fucking performers that happen to be locked into fucking contracts with you fucking clowns. That's the only reason I watch it. Trust me, it ain't for the stories. It ain't for the fucking writing. It is a little bit for Pat McAfee. But it's not for fucking the bullshit Vince McMahon genre of sports fucking entertainment. It's for seeing guys like Big E. It's for seeing guys like Kevin Owens, like Seth Rollins, and I could go down the fucking list, but I'll hold it back. The truth is, I watch it for the fucking talent and to see what these people can do and do some of the things that I really, really, really fucking enjoy to watch.
Take a breath, Joey K. Take a breath. Take a breath. Take a breath. Rapid fire question, real quick, both of you guys. Issues like this COVID issue like the pay issues, issue like the contract issues, will all of this get us closer to actually seeing unions for the pro wrestlers?
If it ain't getting us closer, I mean, it's setting the fucking table. That's for sure.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm really well put. I can't really think of another way to say it, but it's just if this doesn't lay the groundwork or doesn't end up resulting in professional wrestlers forming a union, I don't know what will, because I mean, we're seeing all the reasons here now why there should be, because these people have lives. They have people they have to support. I mean, you sign a contract, but they can basically it's really not a contract, because when you sign a contract, you're legally bound or to that person for whatever the agreed upon amount of time is, whether it's a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, whatever. But I mean, you could sign a contract one day and then like a week or so later, after you make your main roster debut, see hit row, you're gone. And then you can't go work anywhere else for 90 days. I mean, you still get paid for that time frame, but you're kind of sitting at home, and then you take that time. You got to take that time to figure out, okay, where am I going to go next and stuff. But I definitely think we will see unions eventually. Speaking of comings and goings and all that, stuff, which always seems to happen, especially in the WWE as of late. We had recently 2 notable talents get released, but in a sense, this is a little bit different than the releases we've seen in the past. And we're talking, the 2 people I'm referring to are one, Jeff Hardy, and Toni Storm. In a sense, and I'm going to let Joey K lead off with this one because he's the one that came up with this topic. They kind of beat the system. I mean, the story with Jeff Hardy, he's at a house show, I think, teaming with Drew McIntyre, and he gets tagged out or whatever. And next thing you know, he just goes and leaves through the crowd. The story is they offered him help to go to rehab. He turned him down. He got released. Toni Storm, I believe, got like her booking plans changed like midweek or something, and she's just like, you know what, I'm just going home or whatever, and she got released. Joey K, why don't you speak a little bit more about this, because again, you came up with this, kind of give a little bit more of a better background story on this topic here.
Who the fuck knew that all you had to do was just not show the fuck up? I mean, like, they figured out the riddle. I mean, that's like fucking kids on the internet solving a Rubik's Cube in like fucking 14 seconds. Like, Jeff Hardy
can't ever get one of those figured out.
Jeff, I'll teach you. It's not that hard. Jeff Hardy just walked the fuck out. He was like, all right, I'm done. I got my shit in. I'm going home. And he fucking rolled. And whether that's the whole story or not, I don't give a shit, because this is what it looks like. Toni Storm was like, oh, yeah. I'm not going to make it. I'm just going to go to fuck home today. And bounced. And they had to release him. And it's different now that they had to release him than it would be before. There'd be punishments, there'd be suspensions because they would lock him up in contract. But the court of public opinion has very, very, very well changed over the course of the past couple of years, particularly in the current landscape of professional wrestling. They can't afford to suspend a talent because what we just talked about, forming of unions. You want to fucking keep setting the table, suspend somebody and suspend an independent contractor. Yeah. Not a fucking good look. Not a good look in 2022. That's for sure. So props to them. They figured it the fuck out. They hit at the right time and they were able to just fucking leave and they got their release. And whether they have to wait 90 days or not, who gives a flying fuck because they got what they wanted. Toni Storm brought up awesome talent and they fucking throw pies in her face.
Yep.
Jeff Hardy is Jeff Hardy has been one of my favorite performers for the past 24 years,
25 years,
almost 25 years. Everything about Jeff Hardy in the Attitude Era was amazing. Jeff Hardy's various runs with WWE, with TNA, Ring of Honor, Impact, everywhere he's been, I've loved. He will go down as one of the all-time greats just for being a different character, let alone, Jeff nowadays doesn't do what Jeff used to do 20 years ago, of course. You know, that's what happens when you abuse your body that much. And not to mention the success story of Jeff Hardy, you know, at various points in his life, fighting his demons and coming back.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, because there were times where it looked really fucking bad. That TNA match, was it Turning Point? I want to say it was Turning Point, and I'm probably wrong on that.
I think that's right. Are you talking about the one with Sting?
The one with Sting, and he showed up all fucking pilled out of his mind? Yeah. That's something that you guys all know. We're all old wrestling fans. When guys get that bad, it's a matter of fucking time. So for Jeff to have a career resurgence again after that and getting past that, props to him. And you treat the guy like, I just read that he was allegedly supposed to have an NXT run.
He was supposed to be the shaman for MSK, which they ended up going with Riddle.
Which actually worked out better. It's one of the few things actually that are tolerable for NXT currently. But they figured it out. They beat the fucking system. The house always wins. Well, sometimes, once in a great while, you play your cards right and you take the house. And that's exactly what those two did. And now they've laid the groundwork because the next person who does some shit like that, what are they going to do? Suspend him and go through all the bullshit? They'll get fucking murked online. WWE will get straight up shit on from every angle, every fucking direction if they do anything other than just release them from their contract. Because they are fucking independent contractors. That's it. That's the truth. So props to them. They fucking did it. They won. I love it.
Yeah, I was honestly shocked when this came down because, I mean, I know, I think Jeff Hardy was kind of like on an extended period or whatever, just due to the time that they added to his contract from when he was injured. Because I think otherwise, I think he would have been gone by now anyways, and they said, I'm not surprised with Toni Storm because of the way she was treated, since she'd been on the main roster, especially with the stuff with Charlotte. I'm not surprised. I get it and stuff, and all I'm going to say about this is they got what they wanted. Now, hopefully they got this chance to kind of go out there, make themselves relevant again, reinvent themselves or get themselves out there so they can be the characters that they know within themselves that they can be. And you know what? I wish them all the best. Where will they go? Who knows? But It'll be great. I mean, Jeff Hardy most likely will probably wind up in AEW, so he can, because I know they want to do one. Him and Matt want to do one last run before they hang it up for good. And Toni Storm's definitely got a lot of companies out there that have great women's rosters. You know, she could go to AEW, Impact, NWA. She could go back to Stardom in Japan, where I know she's had some. She's enjoyed a lot of success. But I mean, yeah, you know what? They got what they wanted. You know, as long as they're happy and they go out there and they get to do their thing, I'm all for it. Hot One, what do you got to say about this?
It's surprising that it's taken this long for someone to figure out how to get out of their contract, or at least how to force their hand into getting released like this. Back in the day, it used to be the tweets. I don't know if you guys remember the tweeting. Oh, I'm so unhappy. I'm not liking this, or this is not going well, or hey, guys, just to let you know, I've asked for my release. And then you would see either A, they got their release in the next wave of cuts, or B, they got back into catering and, you know, they got buried in the shows, you know, following that. And when their contracts were up, they never came back.
Right.
I think this is, you know, not to steal a phrase that we've used already because of the show, but turning point of these wrestlers actually understanding what their status is. They are independent workers. These are people who are contracted to work for the WWE, but to the point to where they're not employed by WWE the way WWE makes it seem like they're employed to them. If you're telling me that, you know, I'm an independent contractor, you can pretty much release me from my contract at any time, but that doesn't go both ways. I can't walk out when I'm unhappy. Something's wrong. If you can, you know, sign me to NXT, bring me up to the main roster, cut me before you even use me, but now I have a 30-day hold, 90-day hold period instead of a 30-day hold period because technically I was a main roster talent, even though I never debuted on the main roster. Something's wrong. I think the more that these guys start finding these loopholes in their contracts, the more these guys start fighting that the WWE didn't make their names, because it's beyond me how they let the WWE keep their likenesses. You may have came up with this bullcrap name, but I'm the one who made it.
Yep.
And people who had to fight for their legal names, like Chelsea Green, freaking ridiculous. Ric Flair having his battle over the Man because of Becky Lynch. Ridiculous. If you see anybody in the streets and ask them, who is the man? Who is the man that you have to beat to become the man? If they say Becky Lynch, pop them. You're not finding anybody saying Becky Lynch. That's full of they're full of shit. And I mean, what's next? What is WWE going to claim that they own next? The term universe? Because they have the WWE universe. They own the word, the universe now. It gets to the point to where all this stuff, it's just small things building on top of each other. And when we finally realize, man, for a business that employs so many people, they're not doing business the right way. They've been in the business a long time, but they have never done business the right way. And I hope a lot more people start to find these loopholes like Toni Storm and Jeff Hardy did, because if you're unhappy where you're at, they shouldn't be able to force you to be there if you can't force them to stand by what your contractual terms are with them. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's so just crazy how this kind of stuff works, you know. And like I said, if unions ever become a reality, it'll be interesting to see what kind of long-term lasting effects they'll have on the industry here. We got one more topic to talk about here, and that is we have a new WWE champion, and that is Brock Lesnar. Originally, he was supposed to square off against Roman Reigns for the Universal title at day one. But as we talked about earlier, Roman Reigns had got contracted COVID and was out. So instead of, just, telling Brock, don't worry about it, whatever, they enter him into the Fatal 4-Way WWE title match, which turned it into a Fatal 5-Way. And He won the match, won the championship, and is also now back with Paul Heyman, or at least seemingly. I think there's still a little bit more to the whole Paul Heyman thing than meets the eye. But as you see on the screen here, Brock Lesnar is WWE champion, good or bad. Honestly, because this is kind of more so an indictment on how WWE has how they build their talent than anything. I honestly right now I don't think it's bad that he's the champion. I think it's actually good because he's like one of the very few people out there that actually get people to, hey, Brock Lesnar's the champion. I got to turn in to see what he does, on Monday or anything. And I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing, but at the same time, it should be. And that's basically because, Brock is one of a kind. He's unique. There's never been anyone quite like him. There'll never be anyone quite like him. But I mean, you've got all we talk about how bad the WWE is, but if you look at their roster from top to bottom, just like the names alone and, a lot of the talent that we know what they're capable of, they actually have a very deep roster. And it's just that very few talents actually are used properly there. And I think that they wouldn't even need Brock Lesnar if they knew how to build their stars now. But they don't want anyone to be bigger than the brand, which is a bit of a problem because you're never going to see another John Cena. You're never going to see another Dwayne, The Rock. Never going to see another Austin. You're never going to see another Hogan, and all that. And I don't understand why, they're worried about someone becoming bigger than their brand, because if you sit there and say like, okay, in the 80s, people went to WWF shows to go see Hogan. In the 90s, they went to go see Austin and The Rock. The 2000, mid to late 2000s and the early 2010s, people went to go see Cena. People are going to see Brock now, but Rock's been around since 2002. It's just, it's like, he's going to be the guy that draws a rating. It's probably not going to make a significant jump, but I definitely think he's going to move the needle a bit. But it's just more of an indictment on the way that the fact that they just can't seem to build any new stars than anything else. Because I want to see people like Big E. I want to see Bobby Lashley. I want to see guys like that holding the championship. But I want to see them, when built up properly. And, unfortunately, Big E's WWE title run was a little bit of lackluster. And stuff, but it is what it is. Hot One, what say you?
I'm at a loss of words. I really am, because I was trying to wait for you to finish off Brock Lesnar real quick, so I could try to get a good thought in. And the only thing I kept pulling up was, this is the top of the mountain. This is where everyone wants to be. This is the WWE. Every wrestler who ever starts wrestling wants to go here. This is the land of giants. They have the showcase of the immortals. And their champion is Brock Lesnar. And then on their other brand, their champion is Roman Reigns, one of the hottest heels that the company has right now. Brock is one of the hottest, whatever the hell he is. He's Brock.
Just say talent.
Talent.
No.
He's not a face. He's not a heel. He's a farmer from Canada.
No, call him what he fucking is. He's an attraction.
He's the attraction.
I like that word. I like that.
Because there's good side to that, and there's a lot of bad. Go on.
But here's the thing, guys. They have essentially booked nothing for the future.
Nope.
Who's going to beat Roman right now? The Rock? Who's going to take it off The Rock? Brock? Who's going to beat Brock?
Goldberg?
The Fiend? Who's going to beat these guys? Who could they have believably beat these two guys when the last guy to beat Brock Lesnar got jobbed out so bad after holding the company down, carrying that WWE flag during an unprecedented time without fans in the stadium, and they buried him, threw away the key, and acted like he was never top tier to begin with. Who's going to take down the Golden Goose in Roman Reigns? That I think they've booked themselves into a way that no one can beat Roman Reigns that's not named Dwayne The Rock Johnson. So, to me, the booking, the match had a lot of other people in it. That Brock didn't have to take the loss for him to have lost the match. Big E didn't need to take the pin to lose the match. You had other viable top-tier talent that could have done like the Architect. Swooped in, stole a pin, and been a transitional champion as someone else. You could have had somebody make either a turn, somebody either pull off an immaculate win. You could have given a guy a push that's been always delayed. Or you could have at least stood behind your champion that everybody was behind, but we knew it wasn't going to happen because you don't even book him as a champion week in and week out. You keep him there like he's a guy just to hold this belt until we can figure out how to put it on somebody that they want.
Yep.
Newsflash, everybody that's crying diversity fouls everywhere else, the WWE never wanted Big E to be champion. If you think they did, look at his title run. Look how he was booked. You can't tell me that's who they wanted in that position. For some godly reason, they didn't want it to be Bobby Lashley, who was on the run of a lifetime.
Yep.
The Hurt Business was the best thing they had, but it started catching steam. And like DDJ said, when anything gets a little bit too bigger than the WWE, they crush it.
Yep.
Why? Because just like Shane Taylor Promotions, the Hurt Business was for the culture. I fucking love that Shane Taylor's for the culture. The Hurt Business was for the culture. They saw that, and like everything else that happens, when the culture gets too big, you have to squish it. So, all of that to say this, Brock as champion is garbage. The WWE in general is garbage. Everybody thinking that they're the pinnacle. You are garbage. Sorry about it. They're not who they claim they are, because if they were in their 40 or 30-year illustrious freaking in their whole being, they had overlooked not even just black talent. I'm not even going to just say black talent like the Junkyard Dog who should have gotten a title run. I'm going to even go with people who should have gotten title that never did. Jake the Snake Roberts, white man, should have been champion.
Ted DiBiase.
Ted DiBiase should have been champion. They didn't want Ted DiBiase to be a champion so much he made his own belts.
Mr. Perfect.
Crying shame he never got the belt. But that's the whole thing. And that's what you guys have to realize. If they don't want it for you, it's not for you.
Yep.
And when they're forced to put it on you because the fans want you to have it, you end up getting jobbed out to Brock Lesnar. Hi, Kofi. Hi, Big E. I'm done. Brock right now champion.
Look at Daniel Bryan's title reign.
Yeah.
Joey K.
Just need a second here.
Oh, boy.
Just need a moment.
The dramatic build-up.
To collect myself. I'll start with the low-hanging fruit, which is you painted yourself into an absolute fucking corner.
Yep.
As far as your two champions and your two fucking brands or whatever you want to market it as, your two champions that you've built up for years as the fucking unstoppable monsters hold both titles. And the downside is you don't give a fuck about anybody else on that roster. So why should I? Why should I believe that anybody's going to step up and beat Brock Lesnar for the title? Why should I believe anybody's going to step up and beat Roman Reigns for the title? I don't. You painted yourself into a fucking storytelling corner, and you're going to sit there, and anything you do going forward, whoever you decide to put the title on, will be fucking picked apart. Whether it be for what we spoke about a lot tonight, diversity, whether it be for lack of fucking screen time, whether it be for terrible fucking booking, whether it be any reason, it will be picked apart. No one will be on that level. Vince McMahon's brass ring that every superstar has talked about for fucking years, guess what? Hey, I'll mark out CM Punk was right. It doesn't fucking exist. And the only way it exists is if Vince fucking McMahon himself wants you to grab that brass ring. If you have the look, if you have the size, if you have what he pictures in that fucking moment is the WWE superstar, that's who is your fucking winner of grabbing the brass ring. It's not a guy like Kevin Owens, who doesn't have the fucking body type that Vince McMahon ever cared about, who English is not his first language, who just doesn't fit the mold of a WWE style wrestler, even to this day.
Darling.
Correct. He is the indie darling. That's not what Vince McMahon wants.
Nope.
Now, credit to Kevin for signing that fucking contract. And I will be the first one to praise him because I've said it before. I said it on a previous episode. Props to him because he did the right thing and he took all the fucking money for his family. So good on him. So no shame in that whatsoever. But he's not the guy. As much as I want him to be the guy, you guys might. He's not the guy.
Yeah. I want him. I would love for him to be the guy. And I'm not talking about that pathetic excuse for a title reign he had when he was the Universal Champion.
Correct. Let's talk about another talent. Let's talk about the part that upsets me the most. Let's talk about Big E for a second. Big E has what the old school says paid his dues. Big E has been the fucking heater for somebody. The big, strong, muscular heater. I'm sorry to say this, and I don't want it to sound offensive, but the black guy in the background for the white champion.
Yep.
That's what Big E was. He paid his fucking dues. Him, Woods, and Kofi got a shit gimmick, and I'm calling it out. The New Day was a fucking shit gimmick, and they got it so fucking over that they couldn't deny putting some shine on it.
Yep.
How fucking over did you have to be a person that they actually even fucking look at? Let me tell you how big you had to be. You had to be the #1 selling fucking t-shirt. You had to take down the fucking golden boy himself, John fucking Cena, and sell more fucking merch than him to be the guy. And you had to do it on your own. Doing your own thing, playing your own gimmick. You had to fucking build and build and build. How many fucking house shows were those guys on where they're just grinding? Because I love Woods in the ring. I love Big E in the ring. I love fucking Kofi in the ring. And those guys deserve more than having to fucking grind for years just to get a fucking moment of shine. That's bullshit.
Who remembers the original gimmick for the New Day?
Wasn't
The fucking preacher gimmick from Woods coming out. And that's where I'm going to. They took a shit gimmick and had to recreate it. Didn't Woods say in an interview where Vince had the fucking gospel music and was like, this is it? And they're like, no, it's not. And they had to fight. They were ready to fucking walk because they're like, that's not it. And Vince was like, no, it's going to sell, pal. It's best for business, pal. Like that kind of bullshit. Big E deserved way better. Kofi deserved way better since we're talking about Brock Lesnar here. And I'm not talking about Brock Lesnar as a wrestler. Brock Lesnar as a professional wrestler, Brock Lesnar as an entertainer, Brock Lesnar as an attraction that he is fucking money. And he's good. And he's great on the mic. And I know a lot of argument about that. He can hold his own with a lot of shit. And
his greatest run proves how good he is actually on the mic.
Yes. Yes, it does. And on top of all that, the guy, he has it. He's just not big and he's just not strong, but he has it. People want to watch him. People want to see what he's going to do. He's extremely athletic. He can wrestle his ass off, and he's a fucking businessman. He comes in, nah, we're putting this fucking title match on first. We're opening the show. Fuck that. He calls the shots, and props to him for that. I'm not gonna take anything away from Brock Lesnar. But what I will take away is the booking of Brock Lesnar, which Brock Lesnar is not in charge of. They painted themselves into a fucking corner when they fucked up, which we already talked about, the COVID protocols. They had no fucking backup plan, which you should have a backup plan when there's a fucking worldwide pandemic still happening. They fucked up there. They fucked up when they decided to put the title on Big E to get a cheap fucking racial reaction to tout him as, oh, look, we gave you a black world champion. Big E does not deserve a title because of the color of his skin. He doesn't deserve a title for how he speaks or where he came from. He deserves a title because he's that fucking good and he's that fucking over. And and as a person, he fucking deserves it because there's no one better in that fucking company that speaks more eloquently, that fucking is for the culture. He knows who the fuck he is and where he's from, and he stands up for that shit, and I respect that more than anything. Big E deserved all the fucking praise, all the shine, and all his fucking flowers. And you know what? They used his shit, in my opinion, they used his shit to say, look what we gave you. Look what we gave you. And then what? They fucking booked him like a joke. They didn't let him fucking carry the ball like they've let other fucking champions do. And then when push comes to shove, what do? They fucking have to get on the phone and call their attraction and say, this is the change. This is what we're going to do. And they buried the fuck out of him 2 nights in a row in case anybody watched that fucking dumpster fire of Raw last night. I'm sorry. I'm fucking over with it. And you know what? You can argue with me till you're blue in the fucking face about Bobby Lashley. And Bobby Lashley's another fucking amazing monster of a human being who I love to watch. And he's extremely talented. And he's been grinding on this shit for fucking years. Even when he left professional wrestling and went to Bellator, he's an MMA fighter. He's fucking top level everywhere. But you're interchanging here. You see the fucking perception's reality, the visuals, you're interchanging one for another. And cool, you know what? Lashley and Lesnar, that would have been great in fucking 2004. That's when I wanted to really fucking see it. But here we are. And now we're getting it shoved down our throats instead of getting to see some really fucking talented, wonderful, wonderful people get to fucking do what they do best and do what they love. It's a fucking crime, dude. It's a fucking crime of terrible booking. It's disgusting to see what they did to Big E. I am disgusted by it, and I don't give a fuck. I'll just call it what it is. He should fucking walk out through the crowd. And fucking Woods and fucking Kofi. And they should take their shit. They should go somewhere else where they're going to get that fucking respect, where they're going to get that shine. And you know what? They don't got to be the fucking background players. They don't got to be the guy that we're going to throw this belt on to get some fucking viewers and some ratings and some fucking Twitter comments about. No, they'll get fucking respect like they deserve. And they'll get over just the same way they got over in fucking Vince's world. And they'll get over out there in any other fucking land that they go to. It doesn't matter. That's my problem with Brock Lesnar being the champion right now. And it really just fucks things up. So you built up this whole Roman Reigns storyline for what? So they're going to do what now? You really think Brock's going to go? Is he going to drop the title at Royal Rumble? Hot take.
I don't know. I don't want to sit there and say no because, I mean, anything can happen. I I wouldn't be surprised either way, to be honest.
I'm going to tell you this. The only good thing about Brock Lesnar being champion is Brock Lesnar, more than Vince McMahon, has a lot of respect for the business. And there's been a lot of fucking guys, a lot of big time talent who said, no, Brock does fucking business. Brock will put people over. Even when the old man in the back doesn't want to. Brock will fucking
do it. He does it when it makes sense.
He does it when it makes sense. He's got an eye for the fucking business, and he's just got the mindset of it. And I fucking appreciate that and respect that. And that's going to be the best part of his run, because whoever Brock decides to fucking put over is going to go over. Yep. So that's the only benefit I see of Lesnar being a champion right now. You wasted months of storyline. You fucking wasted months of a fucking champion that they could have fucking booked to Mars, dude. And they wasted other talent in that match. We're not even talking about Owens or Rollins in that match. Waste 2 other top-level fucking talents for what? For fucking what? Thank God the Peacock is free for me. Thank fucking God. I don't even have to watch it. I'll just get fucking YouTube highlights and clips and bullshit like that, because that's all it's going to be fucking worth. Terrible booking, terrible story, terrible panic decision, and they have no one to blame but themselves for it.
All right. Well, I think that was some really great takes by everyone, and hope we always like to joke around and say, whoever is still watching or listening to us after all that, thank you so much. That's about it. Like you said, next week we're going to spend some time talking about Wrestle Kingdom all 3 nights, amongst some other stuff. And we thank you always for listening. Again, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can see our socials for Facebook and Twitter. Give it, be sure to like, or, if you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to like, subscribe. And if you guys have anything you want us to debate, you know how to reach us. Buy a t-shirt on our store. Link will be in the episode description. Gentlemen, anything else?
Yeah, I got one more thing.
Oh boy.
This is the motherfucking premiere Joey K. And if you don't like what I have to say, you can kiss my ass. That's the truth. Because I'm spitting my fucking truth. Props and respect for everybody I talked to. We talked about a lot of hard subjects tonight. A lot of difficult subjects. We talked about diversity. I brought up the issue of bullying. We talked about fucking terrible business. We talked about people's health and livelihood. That's some fucking hard talk when we're talking about professional wrestling. That's a real hard conversation for a lot of people. And I really hope anybody who's listening to this does understand that all 3 of us in this show come from very different backgrounds, very diverse. I know DJ and Hot One have both said, I'll tell you too. I am Mexican, Native American, and Pacific Islander. That's my ethnicity and that's my background. So I fit into a lot of a minority category as well too. So when I do see, like Javon said, when I see guys like STP, Shane Taylor's promotion coming out, when I see Shane, when I see O'Shea, see Moses and Khan, see the Reverend, these guys that are holding up a banner for the culture, fucking right I'm supporting that shit. You're motherfucking right. I'll support anything those guys do. You're fucking right. I support guys like Big E and Kofi and Woods, who I know we talk a lot about, diversity in wrestling tonight already, but you want to talk about 3 guys who fucking did it for the culture there too? That's a very, very hard spot to do in that fucking company. And they took it. Guy like Bobby Lashley, fucking just an absolute amazing person, amazing wrestler, an amazing talent. You know where he stands too.
Yep.
MVP.
I was going to bring him up.
Fuck yeah. Talk about somebody for the culture right there. They're out there and I'm for it. They all need to get their shine. And I know I'm probably missing a fucking ton of professional wrestlers, a fucking ton of diversity. And I'm sorry, I'm only picking out a few ones, but there's a lot out there. It's the truth. These are the hard conversations that you have to have in 2022 with professional wrestling. Who you're going to support, what product you're watching, it doesn't fucking matter. Everybody's welcome. Professional wrestling's for everybody. Why I support a company like GCW. GCW's for everybody. It's why I support so many different things that are about inclusivity. That's just the fucking truth. So I know we come across, especially me, I come across pretty hot and fired up and all that stuff, but it's very much the truth. Like, I get very passionate about those things. I get very emotional about those things, and I'll let it come the fuck out, and I'll talk shit about it, and I don't care. I don't give a fuck. I support it. I'm for the culture. I'll support the cause. I'm an ally to all. So, and I'm not going to speak out of turn, but I know I'm speaking for both of you as well too. That's what our show's about. So when we get fired up and we get passionate and we start ranting and raving and getting a little sideways with it, that's because it's just the truth.
Yep.
You know, it's a long fucking road. It's a long fucking road, a long bumpy road, but we're on it and we're going to fucking get there to where, you know, in years to come, we won't be having fucking discussions about diversity in professional wrestling. So that's my final thought, and that's where I'm leaving everybody who's listening to the show tonight.
All right.
To piggyback on that, man, shooters out there, everybody listening to us, this goes a lot deeper than just recent issues that have popped up, right? This is deeper than what we've seen recently. This goes, you know, to where black characters in wrestling were either portrayed as thugs, Crime Time being a prime example, two guys who had to take that gimmick and work it because that's what they wanted to see.
Go back. Harlem Heat, bro.
New Jack.
New Jack.
Exactly.
Like,
there's a bevy of characters when you look back and seeing how they're racial stereotypes. And you don't even have to just go to the black culture to look at this, man.
While they used to portray Samoans.
Yeah. You see, and then as those head shrinkers, the savages, Umaga, you see it now with Dia Lee. Yeah, and they do it literally to every culture that's out there, and that's the thing that, and like I said, Xia Li with the whole karate gimmick, the Chinese Mortal Kombat characters that they've turned her into. They've done this with everybody. So when we say, you know, we're for the culture, this is everybody, guys. Inclusivity, it has to be straight across the board. It has to be total encompassing. It has to include everybody because it's in the word inclusivity. Everybody. And it's 2022. We should no longer be using racial epithets to build characters. So that needs to go out. It's like Joey K said, a lot of these guys, these women, men and women that are out there, they are straight fire wrestlers. They're great wrestlers. But what could kill a bad worker, what could kill someone who's great is a bad gimmick. So part of this is being, and it's not, you know, what we like to consider the woke culture. I don't like that term. Part of it is just being sensical into where we're at now. I'll would be the first to say I 110% agree. 2022 is not like the 80s. It's not like the 50s. It's not like the 60s. But guys, each year we change, we get better, we grow. We see that maybe things weren't done the right way here. Maybe we need to start fixing them and doing things different ways as we do now. These are the hard conversations that everybody doesn't want to really touch. So the fact that we even open the door to have some of these conversations, the fact that we're even, you know, three different people, three different walks of lives, willing to sit here and give you our honest opinions, put it out there, whether you like it or not. This is who we are. This is what we believe in on subjects that everybody else will just take the popular opinion, the populist opinion of, oh yeah, that's wrong. That's wrong. You know, because we've got to be woke culture, or we have to do this, or because this is the fad, this is what's in now, we have to do like this. That's not what we do.
Nope.
We give you guys 100% us.
Yep.
I could tell you this. Like Dusty Roses said, I have dined with kings.
Wined and dined with kings and queens, slept in alleys, and had pork and beans.
And that's true for all of us. We, different walks of life, but we've seen, we've experienced a bevy of issues.
Yep.
And I think that's what's missing nowadays is people to take that second and step back and realize you don't have to be black to be for the culture. You don't have to be Mexican, Hispanic, Latino. You don't have to be Asian, European, Russian, whatever it is. You don't have to be those ethnicities to back these people.
Same thing with you don't have to be gay, or if you're, you can, we have the ability to support, whoever we want and stuff. And that's what's one of the things that makes this country great, is that we have that ability, to, like you said, I have friends of, all different races, sexual orientations. I don't look at them as like, oh yeah, that's my gay friend, or that's my black friend. That's my friend. That's my friend. That's how I look at it.
Exactly. And that's what we need to get to, man. Don't know your truth. Know your truth. Know who you are. Know where you're from. That's a big thing that I'm always big on. That's what my family teaches. Know your past because it shapes your future.
Yep.
Know you. But at the end of the day, the way you interact with other people, number one, it's not the way you want people to treat you. It's not how you think people want to be treated. Treat people as people. It's simple. They're just another person. I'm looking at DDJ right there. DDJ told me he was a 42-year-old, almost white male. I didn't believe it. Joey K told me that he's Pacific Islander. He's Mexican. He's some other stuff in there. I didn't believe it. Because I see these two guys and I see two brothers of mine. So, guys, we have these hard conversations. We have these more serious episodes. Really give it a good listen. Really hear what we're trying to say. Break through any preconceived notions that you may have regarding any of these topics. And if you see us live, if you want to hit us online, we have all of our information in the show notes. It's on the video here for everybody watching YouTube. Reach out. We'll have these conversations with you. I'm a big proponent of For the Culture. I'm a big proponent of everything out there. I'm an ally. Hit at me, guys. We want to have these conversations. We'll have them. But that's the thing. You have to be secure in yourself to have these conversations. So we're here for y'all. We don't do this, DDJ. Who do we do this for?
We don't do it for The Rock. We do it for the people.
That's all I'm going to say.
All righty then. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this has been another wonderful episode of Shooting Shit. Do not forget to hit the like and subscribe button. Follow the show on Twitter at SHOOTINSHT, and thanks for listening.